Dearest colleagues, welcome to the Vision Straight Masterclass series. Today, I'm sitting here with, oh, by the way, I'm Obi Malope, an optometrist here in South Africa, the motherland. Today, I'm sitting with two incredible young and dynamic leaders who are reshaping eye care on a global scale. Right now, it's like, I wish I could be having this interview in person with them because I got the opportunity of meeting them in 2018 at Eye Care in Scotland. And my, oh my, the vision, the passion, the commitment that they have towards seeing optometry function at the highest possible level of excellence and revenue growth, and of course, transformation is unmatched. One thing that before I even do the introduction, one thing that I realized in this series of masterclass interviews that we're doing is that leadership is all about sacrifice. And these two young dynamic leaders that are in front of me right now understand that more than anyone. They understand what it means to pay it forward. And very soon now, you'll be hearing their journey into eye care and the work that they do in elevating eye care. But it's like the passion for people. You know, most of the time, people wait to get to a certain age before they start making a difference. It's very rare where you get to meet young people who still need to make a mark for themselves, understanding that, wait a minute, I need to pay it forward, just like other people have done so for me. So today, it gives me a great honor and a privilege to be able to introduce to you Shamina Asif and Wasim Sarwar. How are you guys today?
Hi, we're doing really well, thank you.
Yes. Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we might look young, but we're not young.
Shamina's older than me, so it's okay.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for adding that in.
She's older than both of us.
Yes, you're probably right, actually.
You touched on something very, very important, Shamina, is that you don't look young, but I guess it has to do with your approach. It has to do with how relatable you are to people of different age groups, to people of different religious backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds. And that is what enables the both of you to stand out as leaders in our generation, or in your generation, if I can put it that way. And so that's something that a lot of people can actually learn from, because you don't find leaders who are as committed, as involved as the two of you are, being able to be relatable to different age groups. And so it's something that I think a lot of people who are watching this can learn from. But anyway, enough about that. Wasim, how did you enter eye care? Can you give us an introduction in terms of who you are? I know you are a big Liverpool supporter, just like I am, but tonight we're not going to talk about football. And so how did you enter eye care? And who are you?
Okay, so hi, I'm Wasim. I'm an optometrist based in the West Midlands, which is in Birmingham in United Kingdom, England. And I started, my pathway to eye care started probably when I was about 16 years old, and that was when my uncle developed a retinal detachment while I was doing my exams and stuff. So then I kind of followed him into the hospital, and I saw how it kind of worked with the retinal detachment repair and ophthalmology and stuff. And that's something I was quite interested in getting into. Then I did some work experience, and after that, then I did some summer work when I was doing my A-levels. And then during my optometry undergraduate years, I was kind of doing some summer work with the company that I did my pre-reg with. And after that, then I developed. But it was really good for me to get that grounding level, starting off from doing all the kind of the admin tasks and the dispensing tasks, and then developing it on, so I could see everything from every single level and going on. And I think that is kind of what gives you an understanding of how everything works from the ground level upwards. So that was really useful.
I like that, because so many people, when they enter or start in the eye care journey, especially as students, for example, they're so focused on the academic aspects of eye care, and then towards the end of their studies, they start looking at perhaps the clinical work in more detail, because that's what we're going to be doing going forward. And very, very few of us end up focusing on the business aspect of things. So I like the fact that in your case, you had that broad overview of the different components of eye care earlier on. And I guess we'll get into that as the interview goes, or the discussion goes on. But Shamina, how did your eye care journey start?
Yeah, so I think I was a bit confused. You know, at such a young age to decide what you want to do for the rest of your life is quite difficult at 16, maybe 16, 17. So I think I was speaking to a lot of relatives who have from different backgrounds and different professions. So I've got two uncles who are optometrists. Oh. And they said it would be a very good profession to go into, especially as a woman, because you can have a good balance in terms of your work and personal life. So then I ended up doing some work experience, and I really found my experience was brilliant. I had a really good mentor as well. And then I ended up getting a Saturday job, just like Wasim, at an optical practice. And then I decided this is probably the profession that I'd like to go into. And then I applied to university. And then obviously that's where my journey started. So it was basically, I think, I'd say people who were in that profession who gave me advice, as well as having the first-hand work experience as well.
Wow. So it's as if like on one end, one of you, it was like a personal encounter with eye care, in your case, Wasim, whereas in your case, Shamina, there was no sense of clarity in terms of what it is that you wanted to do, but being in an environment where you put yourself to learn, to expose yourself. And of course, you just mentioned the element of mentorship and how important that was in helping you carve out your path in regards eye care. Currently, do you practice? Where do you work in terms of your role as an optometrist, Shamina?
Yeah, so I'm actually working in an independent practice, which is a family-owned business. So my sister's an optometrist as well, and so we both have got together, and then my sister-in-law joined the business. Yeah, we ended up having our own optical practice that we're running, and I'm working there in the family business at the moment. So I'm working there as well as obviously doing this Optom Academy work on the side, but that is the practice, the clinical practice I've got at the moment.
Your area of focus in terms of, because obviously it sounds like the practice as an independent practice, it's not necessarily a small practice. What are your areas of focus within the practice as an optometrist at the current moment?
I think we're probably focusing quite heavily on dealing with emergency appointments that come through, because we have a scheme running in the area where if anyone has an eye problem, rather than going to your GP or going to the A&E department or the emergency department, they would come and see us. So we're trying to make sure that we can accommodate these patients. I don't know if people have this in other areas, but if you have an eye problem, you can dial NHS 111. And they'd give you advice as to where you should go, depending on what your symptoms are. They triage this. And then what we found is that we have a lot of patients that are referred through this NHS 111 telephone service to us. So we're trying to deal with as many emergency as possible, just to make sure that someone knows they've got somewhere to go to. They're not being turned away from their GPs, they're not being turned away from A&E. At least they can come and see us if they have an eye problem.
Wow. So that's so important, because it seems like you have created a niche within the optometric services or scope that you guys have identified, that this is where you guys will provide a value-added service for. And for those people who are watching from America, who are watching from Australia, who are watching from here in Africa, the NHS, it stands for National Health Services.
Service. Yes, that's right.
All right. Mr. Wasim, are you sorted? Are you settled?
Sorry, yes, I am.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. As people are watching this, they're doing exactly what you're doing. They're grabbing their coffee, they're moving around, because this is going to be a fantastic conversation. So I'm glad that you are settled and comfortable. What do you currently do as an optometrist? Where do you work? What sort of environment do you work? Are you in practice? Are you in the academic space? What do you do?
Okay, so yeah, so I do a mix of things. So I'm in community practice, just like Shamina. So I do that part-time. I also run alongside Shamina. Shamina is the founder of Optom Academy, which we'll talk about a bit later. So we do that. And I also do some kind of clinical governance work, which is for a company called Primary Eye Care Services. So they kind of run some of the enhanced services that Shamina was talking about. So if someone comes in with a red eye and that kind of thing, so I have clinical oversight of that in the locality. So I look after that to make sure the Optoms are doing what they're meant to be doing, and making sure that patient safety is kind of paramount, and making sure that I report to the clinical commissioning groups who kind of commission these services to make sure that the services are running as they're meant to and hitting targets and things. So I do that, and I also assess and examine students who are going to be doing their pre-reg during their pre-reg year. So I evaluate kind of competencies against the General Optical Council's kind of requirements, and I look at that as well. So there's that alongside. I run some education talks for the local optical committee, very close to the same one that Shamina chairs. So it's a neighboring committee, and I run some educational talks for them as well.
Wow. Well, one thing that I'm getting from the both of you, and especially looking at the profiles or your biographies, you are not one-dimensional. You're not just in one area of interest or focus area or competency. You've got a diverse portfolio of.
Yeah, so I'd say it's a portfolio career, to be honest. I think, and that's good in one sense, because it means you can pick up skills from different areas and apply in different areas. Otherwise, you just become one-dimensional if you're just working in one sector only. I think all our different roles together have enabled us to make a success of Optom Academy.
All right, let's get right into it, because it's something that it keeps on popping up from both of you as you speak. What is Optom Academy?
Okay, so Optom Academy, basically, I'll tell you the background, the story as to how it all started. That's probably easier. Yes. So when I was working for Boots Opticians, I was I was helping to run the pre-registration program. So you have your degree, and then you have your fourth year, which is your pre-registration year to become an optometrist. And that's when you're working in multiple practice. So we have training for this year. So I was part of the training program for Boots nationally for all the optometrists that were working there. And that is my first exposure that I had of training as such. When I left the company, I obviously was not in that position anymore. And I thought, you know what, I can do something like this, but for those optometrists as well, or those students who are independent practice, because big companies have these programs, but small independent practices, where would you go to if you want to learn extra information? So that's when I sat down and I thought, you know what, I can probably do something like this myself. So then I approached Wasim. So obviously I'm chair of Dudley Local Optical Committee, and I've met with, again, CET and CPD accredited events. I approached him and I said, you know what, do you want to join forces? Let's get together and do this. And I say right from the get-go, we were professional. So I think that's the key to the success, is that we didn't just start off as amateurs. I was like, no, we need a good website. We need a good brand. We need a good name. We need a logo. And that's where my brother came in handy, because he works in IT and graphics. So then we all got together, didn't we? Chose the colors. We came to an agreement that it was going to be called Optom Academy. And then my brother initially started off and designed a website for us. So just from the beginning, we were like, we're going to take this seriously and do this properly. So that was probably about 2014/2015. And then I guess the rest is history, to be honest. After that, once we had that, it was about advertising and then trying to engage with students as well. So, there's so many things we've done to try and make sure that we got to university so that students were aware of us. But I think the biggest success we've seen, and I'm sure you'd agree with this, is that it's been word of mouth. So people come to our courses, or they'll come to our training session and they'll enjoy it and they'll learn a lot from it. And then they'll tell their friends and say, if you want to pass, you need to go to Optom Academy, basically.
Wow. You see, I'm taking notes here because what you said had so many components to it that I believe we will be doing this masterclass series an injustice if we don't unpack each and every one of those components that you highlighted. And let me simplify it for you guys. Firstly, you guys had to you are in a position that you already had the experience of training and identifying the need and the problem, and you realize that instead of going elsewhere to figure out what the solution is, you have to put yourself in there and create that solution.
Yeah, have you heard of the proverb? If no one gives you a seat at the table, go and make your own table. That's exactly how we did.
Absolutely. Now, what in you guys coming together, Wasim, to work together? Because you had never worked or you had worked together, but not on such a close aspect together. What are some of the things that you had to establish as boundaries, as commitment, as roles, responsibilities right from the early onset? Because one thing I've noticed about the industry, we don't have a lot of collaboration that takes place between two people, whether it be two gentlemen or two females or male and female. We don't see a lot of collaborations taking place on a global stage in the eye care industry. So what are some of the things that you guys had to discuss in you guys creating a power team? Because right now your team has grown beyond just the two of you. You've got a whole caliber of leaders who are part of your guys' team. So what are some of the things that you guys had to then sit down and discuss to say, you know what, as a team, this is what we want to build? How did you go about the process in setting up the plan of action for you guys? I don't know if you get what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, no. I get what you mean, and I think it started off, as Shamina said, we started off going back about end of 2015, I think somewhere around 2015, and then we started to develop. So I think in early stages it was just me and Shamina, and then while we started to do mock exams and a few other things, then we started to get other people involved. But the core aspect was just me and Shamina planning everything. But then as we started to kind of grow and develop, and then we needed some other help support us. So luckily we have a fabulous group of other individuals who are also in all kind of respective roles, who kind of help and support us doing it that way. But the core element is kind of me and Shamina sit down, and we sit down every so often. Like after this call today, we're going to be sitting down and discussing some other things. So we have our own kind of like bi-weekly or maybe monthly meetings, and we sit down and discuss about where to go and what to do. And to be honest, me and Shamina, we've known each other for a long time. Like, I see her as my sister, so I don't really have any boundaries in that regard. So we talk very openly about things. And as you know, we joke. So when I said that she's older than me, she actually looks younger than me. So that's what other people do. So credit to her in that regard. So yeah, so we have that kind of communication, regular communication, and then we also, yes, we talk via face-to-face video, and we also email as well. So we have different kind of ways of communicating, and then we have our regular meetings, which we also draw in other people for, in order to get their opinions as well, which has proved very valuable, because me and Shamina might have our own ideas, but sometimes getting someone else in and having their perspective can also freshen things up as well.
Wow.
And I think in terms of roles, I just want to add that I think naturally the roles have developed. So, Wasim's a bit more IT based, a bit more, he's better at, managing the website and sending out the emails and stuff. So it ended up being naturally that he ended up taking that side of things. I'm probably quite good in terms of networking and trying to find out new contracts, or trying to find good opportunities and stuff. And so I tend to use my other roles in terms of people that I bump into to try and promote Optom Academy that way. So that naturally ends up me becoming the person who's like networking in terms of venues, and naturally has evolved over time. However, we will merge into each other's, zones if we have to, as such. It's not confined to he only does this and I only do this. We work together, and sometimes he'll help me out with something I need help with, and vice versa. So, and I think, you've touched on a very, very strong point there. I think another area, the reason why we're successful is because of our setup. A lot of people are quite shocked, firstly, that either he's not my husband or he's not my real brother. And the fact that we're just two individuals who are business partners, because that's it. Every time he must be your brother. No, he must be your husband. And I'm like, no. A male and female can work together as business partners, and even from an Islamic perspective, the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him, this would happen. The Prophet's first wife, he was a businessman, he was a merchant, and she was a successful businesswoman. It happened then, and so I don't understand why it's such a big deal now. But now people get to know us, and then they like our setup. I mean, I'd say we went to a meeting where we presented together, and people loved this dynamic setup that we've got, to be honest.
One thing that stands out about the work that the Optom Academy does is the level of excellence in terms of your entire setup. There's a sense of you genuinely care about what you do. You genuinely care about making a difference. Now, for those people that don't understand the dynamics involved in building stakeholder relationships, because I could imagine how much time you have to spend in building the relationships with the various practices, institutions, suppliers, corporates, you name it. What are some of the challenges or processes that you guys had to go through in establishing those solid long-term relationships, so that when the pre-reg students are coming, you actually have the places or institutions, organizations where you can actually place them. That's the one part of the conversation. And the other part of the conversation is, you mentioned word of mouth. How much time do you spend, how much time and resources do you invest though in promoting and marketing the business? So one of you can answer the one, the other one can answer the other one.
Wasim, do you want to do the marketing one?
Yeah, so I'll do the marketing. So do you want to do the first question first and I'll do the marketing?
Yeah, okay. So I think in terms of the networking, I think it's, understanding. Okay, so basically, if we look at the venues, for instance, and the hospitals, these are top hospitals that are accommodating these students and allowing them to come. And I think it's selling the concept to them that you have future potential optometrists that are walking into your hospital that would otherwise not know about you. And so in the future, they can refer patients to you for cataract surgery, or if they've got macular degeneration and they need to have treatment. So this is free advertisement for them in the sense that they're getting people through their door. So when you sell that concept, but then at the same time, when people see how many students the training and they become better optometrists, the people, the directors of these hospitals, they're seeing this as their way of contributing to the optical community in a good way as well. So I think it's a two-way thing. They appreciate what we do. They're happy with the quality of the students that are coming out. It's a good brand promotion for them. And at the same time, I think we have got a very good relationship with them. So they listen to us and we listen to them, and we work together in that way. And I think once you have a good relationship, then I think you're just successful in the sense that, you're going to have a good optometrists coming out, good training sessions. So I think that's probably what I'd say with regards to that. But Wasim, in terms of marketing, do you want to focus on that?
Yeah, that's fine. And then the other thing I just wanted to add about what Optom Academy do, and this is something that Shamina started off and did a really good job on, is also about supporting qualified optometrists from other countries who want to train in the UK. So doing the kind of General Optical Council kind of conversion exam. So we've helped quite a lot. We've helped optoms from Hong Kong, from other parts of China, and even
Korea.
from Africa as well.
Yeah.
So and we've even got some of our a good cohort actually of our current pre-reg students who kind of trained with us are actually from the kind of East Asia and from Africa, and they are doing a lot of them have qualified from abroad, and they're doing their pre-reg year and training even from Greece as well. From Greece and from Cyprus. So we have quite a lot of a diverse range of individuals who are actually talented professionals, but they want to practice in the UK, so they haven't to go through that pre-reg program again. So then they've come to us for support as well. So we've kind of got that. Talking about the marketing element.
Before you move on, Wasim, on that actually, you just made me realize that you guys actually provide an important solution here in Africa, in South Africa mainly, because the reason why I was in the UK is because the CPD or CET platform that IK runs in Scotland, Vision Straight runs it here in Africa. And on the distance learning platform, before 2020, they actually we used to actually have the prep courses on our platform, but we removed it the beginning of 2021. And ever since we've removed it, the number of optometrists who have shown interest in being able to go across to you guys there and apply the work or trade there has actually increased phenomenally. So at least now I know I can refer people to you guys now, because you're already in partnership with so many of these institutions, IK being one of them. And I love the element of training that you guys do, the detailed courses that you guys have on the platform. So that's something that for those who are listening here in South Africa, Optom Academy provides the platform and the resources and the material
for international
process that you need to go across from here to the UK. So that's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. You wanted to go into more detail regarding the marketing approach that you guys go into, Wasim?
Yeah, that's right. So I think word of mouth has been very, very successful. But another thing that we kind of did hop on, we did when we first we were on Facebook a lot, and Twitter, because at that time those were the prime social media kind of platforms. And then as it develops, we kind of tried to go down with the kids, and then we joined Instagram, and Instagram was a key actually element to it actually with our development, because a lot of the university students and a lot of the pre-reg students are on Instagram now. So we kind of we made, I think this was going back about 2018 to 2019, we made a consistent effort to try and follow more groups and try to kind of put ourselves out there. And then we have got to a good stage where we are now, where we kind of do promote our services, and we get quite a good amount of responses and messages and questions about our company from.
Okay, so we go to universities, we talk to students about what the pre-registration year is about and the services that we offer, and then they start following us on Instagram and Facebook from that. And then when they come to that stage, they know who to approach when they need help.
Wow. Does every single student have to do the pre-reg
yes.
course in the UK? Because in other parts of the world, that is not necessarily a requirement. So this is a GOC requirement.
That's right.
In the UK. All right. Yes. Now, how much time do you guys spend on the actual training and development of both the students and the support that you're giving Optoms? Because I went through your website, I went through the list of courses that you guys are providing, and I saw that there's a lot of content that has been developed for both the pre-reg students as well as the optometrists who need the necessary support and so forth. So you guys built the entire platform on yourselves. How much time do you spend constantly upgrading it, fine-tuning it? Because I could imagine, I mean, I could imagine that takes a lot of time and effort and financial resources at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, originally we were doing live lectures. All our teaching was done live on a Sunday evening. And I think during COVID, it was fine because we were not working in practice as much and we could do a lot of this. But obviously now that things are returning back to normal, we had to think of a way to make it sustainable. And so then that's when we, again, you know, you're going to think, well, how did she go about doing this? You know, I approached a few websites to see whether they could build this online platform so that all our lectures are on there, and their costs were exceedingly high. So then I ended up going to networking events where you could find people who are selling, you know, promoting their businesses, and that's where I found this guy who deals with making online platforms.
Wow.
And then basically we told him what we wanted, but it was a two-way thing. So we had to do a lot of work with him because he hadn't done something like this before. He's done restaurants and food, but he's never done something which is like a teaching thing, like an educational, you know, an educational website as such. So we had to do a lot of work with him back and forth in terms of how we want the images, how we want it to look, how the material should be there, how the notes should be there, how should students be able to access this. So it's taken us a lot of time, hasn't it, Wasim? I'd say, especially the online side of things. And Wasim updates the website regularly. So that's something that he's doing consistently every other day, depending on when the dates are confirmed. We update it straight away because we have so many students waiting to book onto our courses. So as soon as we have venues confirmed and courses confirmed, it's on the website.
Wow. Wasim, what's the biggest challenge that you guys face as the Optom Academy?
So, oh gosh, the biggest challenge we have, the biggest challenge I see us facing in the future, if I was to rephrase that, is that in about 5 years' time, there's a strategic review that the GOC are doing about the pre-reg year and the development of optometrists. So that's going to change how the pre-reg year looks from university onwards. So that will probably change the way that we'll have to kind of change our dynamic about how we do it, because looking at it, it's going to be, it may well be that they're going to be trained at university, and then they may go out for a year and then come back into university and do their training, or it might be that the university will do everything. So we're going to have to adapt to that once things evolve and we know more information. Right now, what the biggest challenge is for me is just trying to get the word out there to people who, even though yes, we have got good word of mouth and we've got a good following, there's still other people who I feel that still could use our support and what we were set up for, and what Shamina originally wanted this company to do, and is to kind of provide courses for those people who don't have any in the first place. So to provide support for people who aren't in multiples, who are in those independents, in those practices who don't have any other support, it's just them, and kind of giving them an outreach somewhere to look. And it's those kind of people that our focus is on, because a lot of the multiples, they are great and they have their own courses. A lot of pre-regs still come to us because we offer them something different. But the independents are the kind of core factor that we try to drive in and try to kind of express our interest and show that this is what we can do, and trying to tackle those people who kind of would really value our kind of support and education. And that's the hardest thing, I think, that we have found. We're getting better at it and we're finding different avenues, but it's just trying to break through that barrier and try to get that word out there, which is our biggest challenge.
And I think the other thing is that there is now competition. When we first started off, we were the second company in the UK to be providing these services. But over COVID, the number of people who have emerged, who are now offering the same thing, has increased. But this is a good thing for us because we have now upped our game. I'm telling you now, if it wasn't for those companies, we would have carried on the way we were carrying on. But all of a sudden, we're like, we're going to have to do this. We're going to have to change our tactics. We're going to have to become more proactive, because competition actually makes you better. And I know this is going to sound crazy, but it actually does. I know people think, oh my God, there's somebody else come out. There's somebody else on the market. But, I think, we upped our game because of competition.
I like
that. You have to stand out. You have to stand out in this market. It's just like in anything. Like if you're an optical practice and another optical practice opens next to you, how do you differentiate that you are different? And that's something that I think that me and Shamina can kind of bring, that we feel that are different to what other people can bring. Because yes, there's two of us and we have another group, but we have a different range of experiences, and the way that we kind of go about things in terms of how we teach is a little bit from what we could say from a community point of view. And we can, and from my side, I see things from an examiner point of view, from a supervisor point of view, and from an undergraduate student point of view, because I've trained some of the students from university as well. So we can see that from all those different kind of aspects, and I think that's a unique thing that we can kind of bring to our training.
I think it's our credibility in terms of we're doing this, but it's because we've got all of this behind us. That there's some people doing it, but they haven't got anything behind them. So who are you going to go to? You're going to go to somebody who's got the range of experience, aren't you, to be honest?
Absolutely. I love that. It's all about the work ethic, the integrity, and the word of mouth at the end of the day. So whatever that you do on a marketing point of view, it adds on to what people have already gotten from you guys. And I'm a firm believer that it's like what you said, Wasim, running an optical practice. With regards to that, if a patient is satisfied with regards to the level of service and care that you have provided for them, that patient will become your biggest advocate for your practice. And same applies with what you guys are doing. So it's so important that people can learn from that you don't stay or rested on your laurels. You constantly have to look at new ways of what does the future of eye care look like? What does the future of the different components of optometry look like? Where are things heading into? And will I still thrive and survive in that new norm that we're going to be heading into? And so you guys, I think, have captured that approach very, very well. You guys seem to have this thing going very, very well. What I wanted to find out from both of you individually is what inspires you though to keep doing this? What is that drives you guys as individuals, that enables you guys to put in the work and the sacrifice that is required in seeing the Optom Academy producing the kind of work and future leaders that it currently does?
I think I'm going to bring my role as LOC chair into this. So as my role as a local optical committee chair for one area, when we get referrals to the eye department from optometrists that are not very good, then the ophthalmologists come up to me and they're saying, look at this referral, look at this, look at the standards. That's when I'm realizing that's where we're having an impact, because it's very difficult to teach somebody who's fixed in their own ways when they're like in their 50s or 60s now. But the new generation, we, through our training institution, can say, this is what a good referral letter is looking like. These are the tests you should have done on the patient before you sent them to the hospital. So I feel that we're having an impact on the wider community, the optical community, through the training that we're doing. We're producing good optometrists. And especially when they come back and say, you see them at a conference many years later. I had a patient who had this condition and I knew exactly what to do because you had taught me this. And, this is what drives us. This is where that passion comes from. It's honestly, if you're going to do things just for finances, it will show through. Okay.
Absolutely.
It means you're doing it just for the money and people will know about it.
Absolutely.
But when people can genuinely see that you want to see good optometrists and you're really happy to see them in a career and then becoming successful, and you feel like you've contributed to that. So I just feel that this is what drives us, doesn't it, Wasim?
Yeah. I think you've hit the nail bang on there. I think the other thing that also kind of helps us develop even more is just we see the feedback. So we see the students, and a lot of students start off with us from university. So we help them through their undergraduate studies, and they're with us through pre-reg. So it might be 2.5 years they're with us through our courses, and at the end of it, they tell us they pass. And we feel really happy. But the kind of testimonials that they kind of write about us and they say thank you, and the way that they write it kind of it's quite heartwarming, and it kind of makes us think that we kind of make that impact on these students. We can make it on other students, and we can make it more on how can we do better. So we kind of providing a service, but at the same time we're helping them get through where sometimes they don't have anyone else to turn to. So we're kind of their support network.
Yeah, and the pre-registration year, it was the most difficult year of my life, and everyone will say that, and you will remember those people who helped you through it. So even till the end, they will hopefully remember us, that we were there to support them through what was the toughest time of their life in their exams.
Where can people reach you guys?
Instagram, Facebook, and obviously our website, www.optomacademy.com.
Wow, guys. Wow. Talk about getting straight to the point, pearls of wisdom. I think we're going to have a round 2 of this. This is not enough. We're going to have a round 2 of this where we bring on some of those success stories of those students that have gone through the process. So for today, thank you so very much. Everyone, look at what is possible when we don't have fear of who takes the credit of that which needs to be done to elevate eye care. These 2 incredible leaders, Wasim and Shamina, are doing phenomenal work in elevating eye care, as well as their team. They are doing phenomenal work. So if you're not following them, you better go to the social media platforms and the website and connect with them. And for all those in the United Kingdom, make sure that as a student, you connect with the Optom Academy right now. Until the next episode, until the next masterclass series, stay tuned and stay connected to the Vision Straight platforms, and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. And it was a great honor, great privilege speaking to the both of you guys.
Thank you for inviting us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.